Hey book friends, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to an unhaul video. As you can see from the thumbnail, we are moving. We're moving, and the idea of moving all of these books and all of the books in our schoolroom is a little daunting, I'm not gonna lie. But today I just decided to peruse my shelves and see what I could live without, honestly. And so I filled a box, and then I thought I'd sit down and show it to you. So that was the inspiration for this video, so stay tuned to see what I am getting rid of. So hi, my name is Angie. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back. So like I said, we're moving. My husband got a new job. We're moving. It's not too far, but it is like a whole new town, a whole new situation. I have lots of things going on. And today's project was to clear some books. So that's what I did, is I put them all in here. And so I'm gonna pull them out and share them with you. And then I'm gonna put them on Pango. That's a whole nother project, but I'm gonna put them on Pango probably before you see this video. But my plan is when this video is live, the day it's live, I'm gonna run a big sale because I need to get rid of books. And so if you're watching this when it goes up, go follow the Pango link to my shop. It should be having a major sale, and hopefully some of these books will still be there and you can catch them if you are interested in them. Otherwise, just follow my shop for when I post a lot of books or run a sale. But with that out of the way, let's just start. Okay, let's start with what's behind me, because the first thing I did was I pulled off some obvious books. Once I'm just not as interested in anymore, my tastes have changed a bit. And it's hard because I don't like getting rid of books that I think I could really be interested in. I am just not in a historical fiction mood anymore. I feel like I have really been in my series era. I have just been loving series, mostly fantasy series, some romantasy series, but even some thriller type series I am drawn to. So yeah, I've gotten rid of quite a bit here. But like I said, I was asking myself the question of like, what could I live without? And the first thing that came to mind was this right here, Wheel of Time. And these are beautiful copies. You see how they make a whole landscape here? And I just really liked that. And it was really appealing to me when I first got the books. But I feel like I might not like Wheel of Time. And it's taking up so much space on my shelves. And so I think I'm just going to try and get it from the library if I have the inkling to pick it back up. So all 9 of these books, books 1 through 9, I think I'll put on Pango and see if anybody else also thinks they're beautiful and want them on their shelves. So that's the first thing that's being unhauled. It just didn't fit in the box. That's the first. Oh, you guys. This one, I'm still not sure. I've had this on my shelf though since like I started my booktube channel, which was 2020. It was a long time ago. And it's been sitting there. And I go back and forth on if I like retellings. And I know this is like really popular. It's Circe by Madeline Miller. And so many people love this book. And I feel like it started the retelling movement, if you will. But I don't think I want to read it. So I'm unhauling it. There's that one. And then, okay, Susan Meisner. I love Susan Meisner's book, As Bright as Heaven. It was like my favorite book of 2020. It really was one of those books that got me back into reading, and it's about a pandemic. There were so many things about it I loved, but I've read some of her books since then and I haven't been as blown away. And so this is the last year of the war, and I feel like it came out in like 2021, and I don't feel as drawn to it. I think it has to do with the Japanese American camps, which is just depressing. Okay, these books, I'm a little unsure. So I picked up the first book in this series. Again, it's because it's a series, and there are very few historical fiction books that are series. And so that's probably why I initially picked it up. It's called The Half-Drowned King by Linnea Hartsocker. And it's about this king, I feel like, from like Norway, and he gets betrayed by his people and like shipwrecked or put on this island, and I think he has to like escape and come back and seek revenge maybe. Oh, this one I actually might put back on my shelves. Just because it's a series. Okay, I'm gonna put that in the maybe pile. This is what happens during unhaul videos. Okay, I just put The 10,000 Doors of January by Alex E. Harrow in the list because I read it in February as a buddy read with my book challenge down below, and I wasn't blown away by it. I liked so much about it, but in the end it became like a 3-star, and I have a rule, I can't keep 3 stars. I can keep 4 and above because I'm trying to build like my favorites. That's what I want, especially moving into the new house. I want a bookshelf that just continues to grow favorite books, and that one wouldn't be on it. So here's another one. that is a historical fiction book, but it's about World War I, which was what kind of drew me in. But again, I'm not reaching for it. So it's A Bend in the Stars by Rachel Barenbaum. And I think it has to do with like siblings are parted and they have to kind of find each other, and it's to do with Russia. I don't know. See, when I pick these back up, I'm always like, maybe I want to read this, but then I never do. Here's a book of the month that I picked up and I was curious about it. Sometimes this happens with book of the month where I want one of the add-on books, right? And then I pick up one of the monthly selections that I'm interested in but not super interested in, and that's where this one comes in. It's The Circus Train by Amita Parikh. It has to do with this circus, and Lena, our main character's in a wheelchair. Her mother's like an illusionist, and World War II hits. And I believe that's the circus that goes to the camps. I'm not quite sure. All right, Half Sick of Shadows by Laura Sebastian. Now this is an Arthurian legend kind of book, right? And I have been loving the Legendborn series by Tracy Dion. Like, I can't stop talking about it. But again, that's a series. And this is a standalone. And it is kind of a retelling, but it's from, I think, a side character, if you will. It's not like Lancelot or Arthur or Guinevere. It's about Lady Shalott. She reclaims her story in this bold feminist reimagining of the Arthurian myth from the best-selling author of Ash Princess. Okay. I don't know. I just haven't really wanted to read it. And I think, honestly, with fantasy, I shy away a little bit from like standalones, which sounds silly. I should want to read those so then I don't start a bunch of series, but I'm just not as invested, right? Okay, another one my sister just gave me. And I was thinking about keeping it because of the author, but I haven't actually tried this author. I just think I will like this author, and it's Grace Draven. So this is called Master of Crows. It is a special copy, but I have recently just read kind of a crow shifter book, which I really loved. It's these books. And so I just was like, I don't know if I want another one. I don't know if I want another crow book. But then this is what happens during Unhaul videos. I make split decisions, and then I get to this part where I start to describe them and I kind of want to keep them. I'll put that on the think about pile. All right, next are some Tana French books. Okay, I read the first one of the Dublin Murder Squad series. It's called In the Woods. In the Woods. And I read that 2 years ago or something like that, and I thought it was just okay. I think I gave it 3 stars. It was too wordy. It was too slow. It was interesting in some senses, but I just didn't want to continue. And then I heard that this one, the likeness was better because it follows the main character in that first book, his partner, Cassie, I think. Yeah, Cassie. And then she has like somebody stealing her identity or placing her ID on murder victims or something like that. But yet I haven't picked it up, even though people are like, it's really good. I'm just not drawn to detective stories, even though that used to be a genre I read so much. This is the hard thing about unhauls. Really, if I weren't moving, I might just keep some of these books, but the fact that I'm moving, I can't bring myself to hold on to these books that I'm never picking up. Again, I was wanting a detective story that was a series. And this I had heard good things from I think it was Audrey from Chapters and Converse. And it's the Ragnar Jonasson series called The Darkness, The Mist, and The Island. The good thing about this is on Pango, I'll probably just kind of put them together and somebody can get the whole series, which would be wonderful for them. But I just felt like I wasn't interested in, I think it's an Icelandic murder mystery series. I'm just going to pass it on, right? I'm just going to pass it on. A couple other book of the month books that I picked up a long time ago, January 2021. So this is Jane Harper, The Survivor. I feel like I was curious about Jane Harper, but this just didn't ever really sound that appealing. It was about a man who I think ran away or left his hometown because there was a secret of some sort. Something happened and now he's back and all the secrets are coming out, right? So, And then You're Invited by Amanda J. Atissa. I think this has to do with an island murder of some sort. Other than that, I'm not quite sure. I don't believe it got like the best of reviews, or people aren't really talking about it. Next are a couple more historical fiction before I get into all the rest of them are fantasy. This book. So this is Flight of the Sparrow by Amy Belding Brown. So this is based off of a true story of an English woman who was kidnapped by American Indians in Massachusetts Bay in 1676, so before the Revolutionary War. You know what's funny about this book is we are going through American history in our homeschool this year and next year, and so we're very in this kind of time frame. So this is the Puritan society, and she was taken. It says, battling cold, hunger, and exhaustion, Mary witnesses harrowing brutality but also unexpected kindness from her captors, especially as a woman who believed they were evil, if you will, that the American Indians were bad people. And so I feel like that would actually be a really good book if I was just in that mood. Maybe it is because during homeschool we read so many historical fiction books that I don't want to bring it into my for fun reading as well. Okay, now I have a Marie Benedict book. Oh, I guess there's two authors, Victoria Christopher Murray as well, and the Professional Librarian. And I think this has to do with a Black woman who is JP Morgan's personal librarian, and she hides her identity in order to pass as white. All right, so to move on to some fantasy books that I think I'm just going to let go of. And the first is this duology. It is a YA duology, and I have found recently that I just love YA. But this one just didn't sound as good. It's called The Bright and the Pale by Jessica Rabinkowski. Not quite sure how to say her last name. And the second is The Wrath and Mercy. And I think it is a fantasy book that has to do with like ice and snow. 17-year-old Valeria is one of the only survivors of the freeze, a dark magical hold mountain unleashed on her village. So it's inspired by Russian folklore. It has some things that sound interesting, but I think there's other books I'm more interested in. All right, another one I kept, my sister gave this to me. It's a fairy lute, Year of the Reaper. This did sound interesting. So it said, 3 years ago, Lord Cassius disappeared in the midst of a war, then he was held captive, and now he's been released at age 18 and he tries to go home. But his home is not what he remembers. It's also a very pretty copy. All right, but I'm gonna let it go. Along with this one, Violet Made of Thorns by Gina Chen. So this is Owl Crate. This is about a girl who is a prophet and a liar. Like, she works for the royal court and has divinations, but really I think she's just making it up. But now it sounds like one of the princes doesn't believe her and he's going to strip her of her standing unless she does something about it. I mean, it sounds mildly interesting. Again, this is the problem with some of these books, is it's like a singular book. And maybe if it was a bigger fantasy series, I would be into it. But another one, Skin of the Sea by Natasha Bowen. Oh, I feel like I put this on a number of lists and TBRs and wanting to read it, and I never pick it up because I'm not that drawn to sea fantasy, like mermaids, merpeople, sirens, all that stuff. I kind of like the idea of pirate fantasy. I could go for that, but mermaid fantasy, I don't think so. So it's an Owl Crate book. It says, a way to survive, a way to serve, a way to save. So she, Simi, prayed to the god once, now she serves them as a mermaid, collecting the souls of those who die at sea. But then I think a boy drowns or is thrown overboard, and she saves his life instead of taking his soul. And it goes from there. I've had this along with Spinning Silver on my shelves for a while. I loved Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik, but Uprooted, I just haven't heard a good review of it. Not that I feel like I should take other people's opinions. I should read things for myself. But again, I'm just not drawn to this type of a story. It feels very fairy tale adjacent, which it's just not my thing. So it sounds like there's this village who I think they have to give over a girl every year or something like that. Every 10 years, one young woman must be handed over to serve the dark wizard. Yeah, I don't know. Probably not. Okay, I should probably try this, but my sister gave me some romance recently and I did haul some of them. So I did make a recent book haul to move all the books, but those ones I was a little bit more interested in. And this is by Elena Armas, which is the author of The Spanish Love Deception, which I hauled in my last haul. But she also gave me the Long Game book. I just don't feel like I'm interested in sports romance. I could be so wrong. I've never tried, so I really shouldn't say that I'm not into it. It just never sounds good. I never feel like, oh yay, sports people. I didn't even look. I just saw a soccer ball and I put it in my pile. Okay, another book I read part of. I took my bookmark out. That's the worst when you're unhauling books and you leave bookmarks. Lessons in Chemistry. I read this, or started to read this a couple months ago, or last month, and I did not like it. I did not like it. I didn't like our main character of Elizabeth. I didn't like the story that was supposed to be laugh out loud funny, but it was not even kind of funny. It was a little messed up, and I just didn't like her main character and how she thought and how she operated within the scientific community. And I'm just, I will link my February wrap up if you're really curious what I think about that, because I I go into more details. I really kind of rant on that book because I just did not like it. Okay, another book I have that's just a beautiful copy, but I read the synopsis and it just did not sound good. It's Fathom Folk by Eliza Chain. And maybe I didn't even look too much at this synopsis. I just saw this. Mermaids, or something like that. So it says, welcome to Tayang Kwai, a shining pearl of human civilization and a safe haven for those fleeing civil unrest. There are sirens, sea witches, kelpies, kappas who live in the polluted waters below. Our half-siren Myra is promoted to the captain of the border guard, means an opportunity to help her downtrodden people. It sounds good in those senses, but it's like, mermaids. No, thank you. I think I'll put that on my pile. And if you love mermaids in your books, I have 2 of them for you if you're interested. All right, moving on to the last book is Where the Library Hides by Isabel Ibanez. This was my January selection for the Buddy Read for my reading challenge. It's the second book, Following What the River Knows. I loved that book. It was so good. It's YA Egyptian meets like national treasure type book that I just really enjoyed. And we read it as a buddy read last year. And so we put on the sequel and I just wasn't as impressed by the storyline. There was a lot of things about our main character and how she responded to some of the things that happened at the end of the first book that I just did not like. She was kind of in search of her parents, and she is a well-off socialite who decides she's going to take a boat across the world to figure out what happened to her parents. And I loved the first book because it had all these like clues and investigations and tombs. And then this one just kind of went off the deep end, in my opinion. So I didn't like it. So I'm going to keep the first one because I enjoyed it, and I'm just going to let that one go. And so that's my first go through my shelves. I feel like odds are, as I'm putting books in boxes, I'm going to find more books to put in boxes. But these are the ones that I've already looked at and been like, you know what? I don't think I want to read those. And there could be more. But for now, this is it. I'm going to put these on my Pango shop. Like I said, I already have some books on there that aren't these. So check that out. And hopefully if you're seeing this, there's some of these are still there, and I will be running a gigantic sale to get these out of my house. So help me out with that, please. But otherwise, let me know about these books. Is there any that you think I should have kept that are like your absolute favorites? Let me know. I mean, I can get them from the library still in case they have already sold, but let me know that. If you have nothing you necessarily want to say, but want to let me know you're here, let's do a mermaid, because you know how I feel about mermaids now. But that's what I have, you guys. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you guys in the next book video. All right, take care.